The Portrait of a Lady. This is the first chapter of class 11th of English subject, and in this video I am going to explain some questions and their answers. These questions and answers which I am going to explain in this video are very important for you because I have taken these questions from support material, and you know that support materials have very important questions and their answers. So these questions are very important for your examination point of view. So first question is, how did the grandmother spend her day in the village? The grandmother spent her day by getting her grandson ready for the school, making breakfast for him and dropping him to school. Besides, she always remained busy in reciting prayers and telling the beads of her rosary. Second question is, why was the grandmother so disturbed when the narrator started going to the city school? Answer is, the grandmother was a religious lady who loved to read scriptures and told the beads of her rosary. When her grandson told her about the subjects being taught to at school, she felt offended and reacted strangely. According to her, music was a monopoly of harlots and beggars. Question number 3 is, how did the sparrows express their sorrow when the author's grandmother died? Answer is, author's grandmother was very fond of feeding sparrows with bread crumbs. When the grandmother died, the sparrows did not take notice of bread crumbs given by author's mother and flew away without eating them. In this way, they expressed their sorrow at her death. Question number 4. How did author's grandmother behave just before her death? The author's grandmother had got a fair enough idea about her upcoming death. Therefore, she decided not to waste even a single second while talking to her relatives, but reciting the prayer and telling the beads of her rosary. She gave a clear signal to her family that she was no longer interested in talking to them. And question number 5 is, why did grandmother hate music? Its answer is, grandmother considered that music was indecent and was meant only for harlots and beggars. It was not meant for gentle folk or school children from respectable families. Question number 6. Why was it hard to believe that author's grandmother was young and pretty? Answer. It was hard to believe that the author's grandmother was young and pretty because the author, as a young boy, had always seen her as an old lady. She was of short stature and wrinkled all over. She had a quiet personality which everybody respected. So, to imagine her as a young and pretty girl was a revolting thought for the author. And the last question, question number 7 is, why was the grandmother dissatisfied with the city's education? The grandmother was dissatisfied with the city's education because they never taught about the scriptures. The grandmother was dissatisfied with the city's education because they never taught about the scriptures and God. The teachers taught science, the law of gravity, etc., which was not of much importance to her. So I have read all the questions and your answers in English. Now we will try to understand every question one by one in English and Hindi.